Firstly, how much of this whole saga was the federal government simply trying to make a political statement about the unvaccinated entering the country than anything else?
Well, no, I don't think that's correct. I think it was quite clear what Minister Hunt had said, that that you have to be double vaxxed, and the fact that you've had Omicron is not the predominant issue. That you have to be double vaxxed is the issue. Now, I'm not a lawyer, right? I'm happy to talk to you about how I want to support this industry, the coal industry in Central Queensland. The Labor Party won't. But what I can say is that I got it wrong last time. I thought that was pretty black and white. So I'm going to use Djokovic's defence, and he says at times that he gets allergies from courtside flowers and he can't play as well. Well, I'm getting the same allergies as well, and I think I'm going to talk a little bit less on this issue. I'll leave it up to the minister, and I'll leave it up to the courts. And from what I've read this morning, and I'm about as briefed as you guys are, it was a procedural issue on the process of how they went about it, rather than the substantive facts of whether Mr. Djokovic was double vaxxed or not. And for me, I'm going to stick to my knitting, and I'm going to tell you that they're going to tax 18 businesses in Flynn, the Labor Party, if they win government. 18 businesses, 1 in Sydney, 18 in Flynn. That is a game I do know about, and I think there's about 24 in Capricornia they're going to tax. So I'm going to support the coal industry and leave Mr. Djokovic with his solicitors.
All right, but obviously this is a very important story today, and not just making headlines nationally, as you can imagine, Barnaby Joyce, it's making headlines internationally. So I have to ask you then, if it was a procedural error, should the government admit that there has been a stuff-up?
Well, once more, I'll leave that to the appropriate ministers. I respect the court. The court's made a decision, and I hear exactly what that decision is, and I respect that, as we all should. I also completely understand the minister also has discretionary powers, and those who are a lot more involved in this issue will be now going through the entrails of this chicken and trying to work out what is the best outcome for myself. I'm going to keep telling you that if we didn't have coal exports, your standard of living would be decidedly lesser. You'd be a poorer nation because we've got nothing to replace one of our nation's biggest exports. And that's how it works. See, every time you talk about Djokovic, I'm just going to pivot back into something I want to talk about.
I appreciate that. But it is an important topic, though. But would you like to see Novak Djokovic be deported?
Once more, that's not in my remit. I think Mr. Djokovic is an incredible tennis player, and I respect completely the legal process of this nation. And I also respect completely the laws our nation has in place as to how you come in here and the sort of terms that you come into this nation on, and which was that you got to be double vaxxed. And then I find myself slipping back into talking about legal stuff. And I go, hang on, Barney, you're supposed to be talking about how Central Queensland would be a lot better under a coalition government.
I know.
Because we'll stand behind the coal workers' jobs. And the Labor Party will just tax you. And they're going to, 18 business here, they're going to tax.
Deputy
1 in
Prime
Sydney,
Minister,
18 here. That's how the Labor Party thinks of it.
I appreciate that, but as you can imagine, this is a big story today, and you are the Deputy Prime Minister of Australia, so we have to ask you about it. I'm sure you can appreciate. So anyway, let's move on now, though. I want to ask you about supply shortages currently affecting multiple supermarkets across the country. How long do you expect that this will continue?
Well, this is something that we've all got a part of. We've got to stop hoarding stuff, like hoarding toilet paper, hoarding rat tests, hoarding certain goods off the shelf. Take what you need, but not more than is required. And that's going to help us a lot. The Prime Minister's also leading there. He's had the National Cabinet, and the state laws are what affect, whether you can go to work, close contact laws. But from a national level, the Prime Minister's trying to sort of change that, mollify it a bit so that people in these crucial industries, and crucial could be stacking your shelves, driving the trucks to your shop, that they can get back to work as quickly as possible. Because the food's there. We're not going to run out of food. But what we will run out of is common sense if people go in and just start swiping everything off the shelves because they think we're going to Armageddon. We're not. Omicron's out there. It's a very mild form of the COVID variant. It is everywhere. As I said when I got it myself, I said this disease will be everywhere. Everybody's going to get it. And guess what? I got that one right. It is. The place is filthy with it. But lucky for us, it's a pretty mild form. So we've just got to cool our heels a bit, cool our rockets, act rationally, take what you need, but not more than is required, and everything will go along swimmingly.
There's also been a number of issues with dairy and meat producers out on their farms. They have time-sensitive raw materials. How can the government how can the government support these producers?
Well, we just got to get back to a more, a logical process of contact rules, and a person who goes in and picks up the milk from the farm, or picks up the chilled beef, or takes the cattle into the sale yards. We don't need them isolating for 14 days if they haven't got Omicron. We've just got to get a logical process. We've got to understand across our nation that we're going to have to live with this. I think everyone thinks, oh well, once Omicron's gone, then COVID's gone, and it'll no longer be around, and that'll be it. End of the story. Close the book. No, you'll just get another variant, another variant, another variant. It's going to go on. It's with us now, and we're just going to learn to live with it. And that's and we do that by just having a logical process to how we act.
I think the concern, though, right now, Deputy Prime Minister, is that there are a lot of food shortages out there. We do have to learn to live with it, but we also have to deal with an ongoing crisis.
Yeah, on the premise of that, without trying to be too smart, I disagree with you, Danica. We don't have food shortages, right? Australia is not running out of food. We supply food to the world. We are not running out of food, but it's the issue. It's about the logistics of getting it into the shop, right? And we're dealing with that. But we're not running out of cattle. I can assure you, take it home myself. We're not running out of cattle. We're not running out of sheep. We're not running out of veggies or milk. Australia is blessed. We have lots of food, right? So dispense from your mind that something is going to happen where Australia will run out of food. We're going to run out of a lot of other things. Maybe if we got things wrong, if we stopped exporting coal, then we'd probably run out of money. But the Labor Party won't talk about that. But we're not going to run out of food.
All right. Deputy Prime Minister Barnaby Joyce, we got through our interview. Thank you for joining me this morning.
Always a pleasure, Danica. Anytime.